Good day, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Today, I'm reading out of a very interesting Taoist text, The Secrets of Spiritual Applications of Veracious Holy Embryo, which is a mouthful. This comes from a teacher, so it's a collection of teachers' writings, kind of throughout the ages, but certainly some time ago, that deal with the cultivation of qi. It describes various breathing patterns. It's almost like for any yoga practitioners out there, it's kind of like the Hatha Yoga Pradipika in some ways. But instead of a single teacher, Swapnarama, being the author of the Hatha Yoga Pradipika, we have a few different authors. And here, the teacher, the author of this passage, which I love so much, and is probably pretty familiar to most, or at least its concepts, I should say. Xiao Zi's. This is his his part of his part, if you will. Let's get right to it. So today I'm going to introduce bellows breathing as well. So I mentioned the secrets of spiritual applications. This book is a lot about the cultivation of prana, or energy, qi, right? Life force energy, or vital energy, if you will. Embryonic breathing is a certain type of breathing, kind of. It's got a lot of instructions to it. But its basis actually lies in a pranayama, a breathing practice that some of you might be familiar with, right? Yoga practitioners, that is, might be familiar with. And that is Bhastrika, or bellows breathing. And that's what we're going to get to. But before we do, all right, the passage goes, it's a really wonderful one. To cultivate means to establish a strong will and to nourish. Nourish means to take care, to tame, and to reach the truth sincerely. Those who wish to cultivate the breathing must first cultivate their essence. If they wish to cultivate the essence, they must first cultivate their sun, which is their spirit. If they wish to cultivate their sun and their spirit, they must first cultivate their temperaments. If they wish to cultivate their temperaments, they must first cultivate their physical lives. What the temperament and life means, it means the spirit and the qi, or the prana, right, the vital energy, the soul, and the vigorous energy, whole, yin and yang, kan and li. So yin and yang, you're probably familiar with. Kan and li is fire and water. And this is like kind of keeping harmonious balance in the body. After practicing for a long time, the holy embryo, Tai, can be formed. This is the real embryonic breathing. All right. So in this passage, Xiao Zi, he kind of breaks down the process that we have to move through. So we first must. So let's kind of read things backwards. And again, those of you who may have joined in the past or have studied, some yoga philosophy in the past, this is very familiar to you, but it's always worth hearing over and over and studying over and over again. He kind of starts at the top and he works his way down. So we're going to work our way down, and from down to up. Okay, so we first must cultivate our physical lives, right? Cultivating our physical lives. And this is like making maybe less than significant changes in our lives, right? Incremental changes in our lives over time, right? Our physical lives, meaning that we're, eating better, so cultivating our physical lives. This also might mean maybe extinguishing relationships that are, maybe no longer serving us. Um, yeah, that can be a very kind of difficult one. I know someone, a friend of mine, if you will, has had some difficulties at work, right? And kind of dealing with the dynamics of, um, kind of two very different people at work. If we were to follow these um, instruction, right? Just very literally, we would have to kind of lay down in very frank terms how we feel, how that relationship isn't working, and that can be very difficult, especially if you're not at a position of power within an organization. So it'd be very very difficult. Maybe the best bet there is to, if you have difficulties, great difficulties in relationships, right? Especially at work, and if it's a job that you actually like, but the relationships within that work, maybe some of the best things that you might be able to do are, um, well, we have our own individual practices, certainly not allowing our emotions to get too tied up in the actions of others. Um, Leading by example, of course, that is kind of primary way to go about it, but also gentle encouragement. Simply cannot expect someone to change, uh, especially maybe the people in positions of power, very immediately, um, but instead we can kind of nudge them in a direction or so, offering advice that might be counter to their typical um, uh, tact that they take. And again, by leading by example. Potential solutions. All right, so first, cultivate your physical life, right? So making very basic changes to your life, very basic changes that are based in virtue, right? So things like perseverance, right? Patience, honesty, and so on, respect, right? So things like that. And let's take respect for a moment, right? When we talked about food, when we eat foods that are good for us, it is an act of self-respect, right? So these are very simple ways that we can change our physical lives. All right. Now, the next thing that we must cultivate are our temperaments, right? Our emotions, sure, desires, right? The things that spring forth our emotions, right? So, an ability to first identify, right, our temperament, our behaviors, right, and certainly in that identification, realizing that the emotional state that we might be in at the moment might not best serve not just ourselves, but also the people in the immediate world around us. And of course, that gets reflected back onto us. There are plenty of techniques within yoga, Qi Gong, and the philosophical systems based around those, right? So whether it is Vedanta or yoga, Patanjali's yoga, right? First, though, we must find awareness, right? We must become aware, rather, of the state, the behavioral state, the emotional state that we're in. If we allow our emotions to just kind of run amok, then we might remain oblivious, or even not saying that we should deny ourselves feelings. Right? This is a question that comes up so often in teacher trainings with students is, is yoga, right? Is Taoism or maybe even Buddhism to a certain degree, less familiar. Is it neglect or denial of our emotions? Absolutely not. It's actually a much fuller embrace of your current emotional state, a deep awareness of that emotion, right? It's feeling that arrives in you, its texture, its origin. And that's what's so important when it comes to kind of getting our temperament under control in these, in these these Eastern arts. It's not a denial, right? It's our control of it isn't let's just push it down. No, it's fully embracing it, fully understanding, feeling it, understanding its origin, trying to better understand how we might manage that emotion by, you know, experiencing it fully in the moment. So don't push it down, embrace it. Right? Vader, right? There's a perfect example of somebody who denied his emotions, right? And they the karmic effect of denying your emotions is, doing evil things to other people and to yourself, by the way. All right, let's move on. So, as we climb this ladder, we go from physical lives to our temperaments. Then, we have to cultivate our spirit, cultivation of the spirit. Oh, I don't know about you guys, but I'm a big fan of Jane Goodall. Right? She's got this podcast out called Jane Goodall's Hopecast, and I think the title kind of says it all. It's her monologues are always just so beautiful. Her um, um, interviews are amazing. Anyway, this is not an advertisement for Jane Goodall's Hopecast, but yesterday when I was listening to it, there is this kind of dividing line, and it's a choice. Right? At the end of the day, it is a choice that we make. Right? In terms of spirit, I want to put it in very simple terms. Right? And that is, we can be hopeful, or we can feel hopeless. Right? We can be hope. The act of being hopeful is one that cultivates our spirit. And at its most basic, we become incredibly enthusiastic about the simplest, most mundane things in life, right? And it gives us energy to kind of keep doing it and doing it in a way in which we become deeply connected to that thing. If we start to feel or if we start to feel hopeless, or if we are in the nature of being hopeless, then the actions that we perform are substandard, right? Or subpar. Right? They're we don't find great enjoyment in the actions or the work that we end up doing. So when we think about cultivating the spirit, the practice isn't so much in you know uh, having to arrive at this transcendent state, but it's more about flipping the switch from hopeless in any action, experience with someone, um, or work that you do, flipping it to being hopeful. Right? I was the past few days, right? My daughter has some guinea pigs, right? She just got a third guinea pig. So I had built like this hutch. I guess it was back in November or something, and there's um, two male guinea pigs, and she wanted to get a female, and we found one to adopt. She's super cute. And of course, I want to keep them separated. I don't plan on having 30 guinea pigs, right? So I have to build an addition onto this hutch. And it had taken me days. I really didn't have it set up for an addition. I kind of had it in the back of my mind, but when creating the hutch initially, I didn't go through a few certain building steps that I could have taken to make this job a lot easier. So I guess Monday night, Tuesday night, when I got home from work, I was working on it yesterday. Uh, Wednesday for maybe 3 or 4 hours, and yesterday for about 4 or 5, 6 hours. I ended up working on this thing, right? And of course, it ended up being, we added up, it was like 15, 20 hours or something crazy like that. And all the while, I was just thinking that it was aggravating, right? There was no moment where, there was plenty of moments when I wasn't aggravated, but there were certainly these moments when I became aggravated, right? Angered, frustrated. And as I mentioned before, right? Being fully aware of those emotions that are coming up, making the decision not to settle on those emotions and look towards why I'm doing that work, right? So maybe the word hopeful doesn't fit very well in this context, and it wasn't even so much about keeping this guinea pig from having a litter. It was about the guinea pig itself, like to build it a suitable home, right? To make sure that it was comfortable, that I was getting my design ideas down in a way that was going to better suit her, and hopefully make it kind of ergonomic for my daughter as well, and make it convenient for her. Anyway, so going from this state, switching, right? Feeling the emotion rise, observing it, capturing it, reminding myself of the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. This is like flipping that switch. Because in that emotion, it becomes ego. It becomes, oh, why am I doing this? And less about, I'm doing this for this little girl guinea pig. It was adorable. All right. We get to the cultivation of our essence. Right? So we've cultivated the spirit, the cultivation of our essence. Now, in Taoist philosophy, the essence we can see as being much like that transcendent state, the place in which we find true connection with the Tao, with nature, right? This reemergence into Brahman, as it might be described in Vedanta, right? So, right, this essentially is the lat, right? We can't reach there without first, right, changing our physical lives. Right? We can't go there without understanding our emotions. Right? We can't go there without cultivating the spirit. Right? We can't reach that transcendent state of our essence, our true essence, right, without first having gone through all of these steps. All right. All right. So, anyway, this is a treatise on embryonic breathing. We're not going to work on embryonic breathing because it's a practice that involves a little bit of physical movement. Right. So, this is where we're going to have the belly moving in and out like a bellows. Right. So, Bastrika, bellows breathing. The belly can be moving in and out, coordinating itself with its inhale and exhale. This can be really good, a very good technique for people trying to better understand Uddiyana Bandha, Mula Bandha to a certain degree as well, but Uddiyana Bandha for sure, because it requires some physical activity. So essentially, as we kind of coordinate the rhythm of the breath, let's go through 18 rounds. Okay, I'll set you up first, right, with a few rounds of just regular breathing. And then once we begin on our inhalation, we're not rushing anything, both with the breath and with the belly, but we're moving the navel forward, coordinating its timing with the length of the breath. At first, this might be a little bit difficult, all right, but maybe after a few rounds you catch it. And of course, on the exhalation, we're going to move the navel back, again, coordinating the movement of the navel with the length of your exhalation. Now, I'm just going to be calling inhales and exhales. I'm not going to be using any counts or anything like that. But if at any time you find yourself a little bit uncomfortable, right, with the breathing practice, just soften your belly, breathe naturally. All right, pretty simple. All right, sit up tall, ears and shoulders and hips all aligned. Maybe you close your eyes. Here, it is a Taoist style of breathing, or Qi Gong. For ladies, you're going to have the right hand on the belly, then the left hand on top. And for men, it'll be switched. Left hand on the belly, right hand on top. All right, sitting tall. Again, ears, shoulders, hips aligned. Place your hands where they just feel most comfortable, but certainly feel free to place them on the belly, or knees, or lap. All right, and of course, we're just going to study the breath. We're not going to get into any imagery or anything like that. Let's first move to an inhale and exhale. All right, just keeping the belly relaxed for now. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. We begin Bhastrika, bellows breathing. Inhale, drawing your navel forward. Exhale, drawing your navel back. Inhale, forward. Exhale, back. Inhale, forward. Exhale, back. Inhale, forward. Exhale, back. Inhale, forward. Exhale, back. Keep sitting tall. Concentrate. Inhale, forward. Exhale, back. Inhale, forward. Exhale, back. Inhale, forward. Exhale, back. Inhale, forward. Exhale, back. Inhale forward. Exhale back. Stay focused. Inhale forward. Exhale back. Inhale forward. Exhale back. Inhale forward. Exhale back. And sitting up tall. Inhale forward. Exhale back. Inhale forward. Exhale back. Inhale forward. Exhale back. Inhale forward. Exhale back. Inhale forward. And exhale back. Relax your belly. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Loosen control of your breath. Keep your mind focused on your breathing now. What I'd like you to do is actually place your mind in your belly. If you have your hands over your belly, it's where I want your mind to be. It's in Taoist Qi Gong. This is the place of the Lord Dantian energy center in the body. So as you kind of breathe in, think about moving the breath into and out of that area. It's not just breath that we're after, we're cultivating prana, Qi. So guiding not just the breath, but guiding prana, guiding Qi into the lower dantian. Just a minute or so. Exhale. Deep inhale, shoulders rise. And out through your mouth, exhale. Shoulders roll back and down. Your eyes open. Well, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to comment or message. Let's have a wonderful day. Okay.